Hi, it's been a long time since I have done a show, so I figured I would try one for fun. And today we'll discuss some things that are going on in music. Well, one or two that really capture my attention the most. And that's Neil Young, Bob Dylan lately. They made a deal to sell their music to somebody, meaning they'll make money off of. Uh, I think Neil Young got about 120 million or 50 million. What's a few million? Um, as well, what the deal is with Neil Young. Oh, you can see my cat sleeping in the background. It's exciting. His name is Joey. Uh, what's going on is he has a right to be involved in the decision making of. It always sounds like my microphone is drooping. Let's get it closer, so I won't have to keep trying doing that adjusting thing. It's annoying. Anyway, the deal. What I read was he gets an option to refuse. Like he has to be involved in the decision making process for what the songs are used for. So he shares this control over his music with some other company I can't remember, and so he could say, "Well, I don't, maybe he has input in the song's use." So I'll try this. By the way, it's Eddie G's Music Row. But the reason I find it's noteworthy to discuss Neil Young is that he had a song called "This Note's for You" a few years ago, and he talks about how he won't sing for Coke, won't sing for Pepsi, and other, topics that are mostly trying to say that he won't let his music go for commercial reasons. But he's probably going to get phone calls once this check clears that they want to sell like Sugar Mountain to like a sugar company or Old Man to some company that's dealing with osteoporosis, maybe so the old man's bones won't be brittle. Or try to think of other Neil Young songs like a Heart of Gold, maybe medication for your heart. They'll try to use the song Heart of Gold, or they'll throw it in movies, they'll throw it in TV shows, because he has about 15 quite popular songs and about, 100 more that are not as big. But obviously, in the case of Neil Young, they'll probably go after the more commercial side of his songs. They're not going to go for the more obscure ones. Although when it comes to the Kinks, Ray Davies has, he's sold stuff. I mean, the Kinks have about 8 or 9 hits that are known, and he's sold songs that are I never even heard of. There was one song where it's in the commercial they show a bunch of horses running around. So I said to myself, it sounds like the Kinks, but I've never heard the song in my entire life, and I had to go digging around. Like he's actually selling. I don't blame Ray Davies; he's trying to make money, but they're playing King songs in ads that they're obscure. And the next person who has gone the similar route is Bob Dylan. I don't know if he actually said he'd never sell his music for commercial reasons or not. That I don't remember. But he's known to not sell his commercials mostly. So, maybe there was a couple of times that songs that he wrote went out of his control, meaning someone else owned the publishing. So when that happens, you have less control over what the songs are used for. But I know he sold for almost 300 million. This is a man who's worth hundreds of millions already. So it's amazing. It's unbelievable how these guys, they can't resist. Who can blame them? They're very old. They're rich, but maybe they're worried about their children's children, and make more money. Comes down to it. It's all about money. Mellencamp once, when I saw him in concert, said, "You'll never hear one of my songs used in an ad." And of course, "Our Country" was used in an ad for some stupid bank or whatever it was. I don't know. But look at just that's the way the business works. So that's the music stuff that I thought was interesting to discuss. I haven't done a show since late November, My kids have been home a lot, so it's pretty hard to do that. And I also don't always get motivated to do as much as I used to way in the past. Maybe my friend Creeper Freak was listening to some of my old shows, and he sent me a message saying I was listening to your old shows, and I'm glad to see you're still doing shows. So it motivated me to just say hello. Politically, of course, we're dealing with the end of an era, a 4-year garbage can removal, and the 20th of January, which is in about 8 days, which will be a very good thing. I don't see even one person tuning into my show. Um, so that's okay. It's fine. I'm going to make a little comment on Twitter. I'm not banned yet, so I'm allowed to talk on Twitter. Okay, I'm live now. Let's see if people care. Anyway, I'll just continue and go on about talking about stuff. So that's musically some new things. Another thing that I found interesting is that I looked over every year. I look over all the money I spend on concerts, and I look it up, and I add it up, and I say, "Wow, I spent $800 or $750, whatever it was." And now I look back over 2020, and I spent zero. So as much as I miss going to live concerts, I can say that I'm glad in a way I didn't go because I didn't spend that $800, and I'm also in a not getting along with a person that I go to concerts with. He's unabashedly crazy about Donald Trump, who I can't stand, so we clash there. And the guy owes me from an Iron Maiden concert 18 months ago too. So, I'm not crazy about laying out money for a guy who has no money. So when the concerts resume, maybe later in the year, I know there was some kind of Osheaga Festival announced for August in Montreal. So they're optimistic, the people who put that together. It's an outdoor thing where, usually 60, 70,000 people show up and you stand around listening to concerts, which I'm not going to be bothering with outdoor live things anyway ever again, because you spend a lot of time standing, and when your hip is not great, you don't want to be like paining yourself with bad aches and pains. So that's some news. I don't know if there's a lot more to say. Um, I guess YouTube stuff is popular. I still go on there. I get easily 4 to 5 replies every day from comments I make on YouTube, Eddie G's Music World. I enjoy commenting about music and occasionally get into a little argument with somebody. About a month ago, I mentioned I was on discussing. I was commenting on a Mama Cass song, or it could have been a Mamas and the Papa song. So I was not mean about anything. Somehow I discussed Mama Cass, and I didn't even insult her. I don't know what I said, but this guy was triggered, and he was like, "How dare you say this? Why are you saying that? You shouldn't be allowed to do this. You can't say that." And after 4 or 5 exchanges, you have to eventually ignore the person, because some people, their goal is to argue. I mean, that's their point. Argue. Oh, the cat woke up. Hi, Joey. Hi. The cat's in the video. Hopefully, I don't get banned for the cat. But anyway, it was weird. I mean, I had to just try to back away from this guy. He had a big issue with my Mama Cass discussion comment, But it's part of what happens on Twitter or YouTube comments. So the cat is looking at me funny because he heard me make a call to the vet that I'm gonna have him neutered in about 6 weeks. So I think he understood me, and he's not too thrilled. People who buy cats, you got to be prepared. A lot of things you have to do. I can't have the cat sitting at home dreaming about women, and you can't have women, female cats, but that's what I mean by women. So the neutering is something I should do. The cat's very clean, as you can see, being very clean, very good. So what I'll do is I'll morph into my ongoing discussion of Canadian bands, which is a shuffling list. So I think I was at number. My next discussion of band that I have to discuss was at 40, which no longer is the same band because it moves around like the Billboard charts. So number 40 all-time Canadian band is Lighthouse. They had One Fine Morning plus a couple of sunny days and a couple of more. Bob McBride was the lead singer. He died of drugs about 15 years ago, if I'm correct. And the band did have a couple of American songs, a couple of songs somewhat appreciated in the U.S. Billy Talent, a band in the about 15 years ago, had a bit of momentum. Were moving around. They seem to be popular. I'm not sure. I think they're still around, but I'm not sure that they are a big deal outside of Canada. But they're kind of a punky band. Prism, number 38 of all-time Canadian bands. And they did have a Spaceship Superstar, about four other ones, kind of barely made the charts in the U.S. And the guy died, the singer. So they're not really a band you hear about much anymore. Leonard Cohen, 37. He's has a big billboard downtown in Montreal. Not downtown, but on St. Lawrence Street. Famously had to go back to work because his manager ripped him off. Now he's passed. Great, great, great poetic singer. My mother met him. We have an autograph from him. Metric, good band. They've opened up for a band or two at the Bell Center in the last 6-7 years. Not really. I would say I like them, but don't know much about them other than that. They have a woman singer. Colin James went from the pop reign in Canada to kind of a jazzy big band era type of thing. I'm not sure what he's up to now, but he had a bit of a mark about 25, 30 years ago. Streetheart toured around a lot. Canada, never made it in the States. I think it bothered them. They tried, and 7, 8, 9 years went by or whatever it was. And at that time, they packed it in, and I think one of them had passed away, but drift off into obscurity. And next, let's see what else is going on with music. Sum 41, what was his name? Derek Whitby, married Avril Lavigne. Had a pretty good run with music. Kind of still around, but don't hear much about them anymore. They're probably trying to, get their former glory back. 5440. Biggest break for them was I Go Blind, which both of the two guys in this band wrote, and it was a hit for Hootie and the Blowfish. So they covered this band. Saw them around 2001. Very good live, so I like them. Great Big Sea, more of a maritime group. The guy I once won tickets to see them. The guy live, I forget his name. What's his name? Alan Doyle. Yeah, Alan Doyle. But it was like the ticket was worth $22, and I would have had to go all the way, like for an hour and a half drive or an hour drive to get the tickets worth $20. And I barely knew their music, so it's one of the rare times I actually bypassed a live concert because I'm not a big fan, and there were general admission, and I don't think I wanted to go out twice to see this band. First to get the tickets, and then second was to go to the concert. I wasn't that motivated. Max Webster, I saw Max Webster live once, opening for Rush, and Kim Mitchell once live, headlining with Helix opening. I like Max Webster. I know the Kim Mitchell's had health issues, but they're number 30 all-time Canadian bands. And let's keep going. Why don't we go to the end? Give me something to root for. Number 29, Aldo Nova. Worked with Bon Jovi, had a bit of a falling out. Fantasy had a bunch, about 4 or 5 songs. He's tried to come back, but the concerts slowed down to nothing when he was announced his comeback. He was on what's that show? The guy in Eddie Trunk's show, but he didn't really make any marks since he said he would come back. I don't think anything happened. Sarah McLachlan, nice little singer that kind of goes, you hear a little double her voice changes a bit. Big. Sold like 10 million records in the United States. So I have to give her credit. She did do well. Now I hear her voice on some animal activist commercial. Honeymoon Suite, Feel It Again was pretty big for them. They had about 5 or 6 other songs. Saw them live twice. Uh, uh, Talking up a woman, and she was very nice, attractive. Talked to her a bit, and of course, the guitarist jumps off the stage at the end of the concert and grabs her and runs away with her. So, I did try, but she might have been his girlfriend. I don't know. 3 Days Grace. Don't know much about this band. They're at number 26. I just know that I once was curious what they sounded like, looked them up, but I really am not much of an expert about this band. Arctic Fire. A lot of hoopla about this band. I like them, but I had an option to go see them a few times. Never went. They seem to have this cult following in the United States, so they're still popular there. They've done weird pop-up shows in Montreal a few times in the past. Trooper, number 24, saw them live. Rob McGuire, as lead singer. I think he once talked to me on Twitter. They're very good live, very good band, but they never really did much more. They had about 8 good songs, but American-wise, they weren't never really caught on to be a big success. Alanis Morissette, number 23, saw her live in 2004. Everybody really knows the story about her. Signed by Maverick Records, Madonna, had this bursting massive album, Jagged Little Pill, and 2 or 3 more after that. And now she's married some rapper guy or whatever, and she's not, like everybody. 2020, 21, people are not as excited to hear new music from her anymore. But she did have this massive career. Blue Rodeo, Canadian band, number 22. Never really burst into the American scene. Never made it big time, but they did a lot of shows, so they probably did well. I don't even know if they're still around. Chilliwack, number 21. She's Gone was a good song, and What You Gonna Do, 2 big hits in the U.S., medium size. From Chilliwack, BC. Lead singer died, probably still running around. Our Lady Peace, saw them, very good show at Club Soda, sold out the place. It was first come, first serve. It was very, very popular band, like 2003 or 2, whatever. And I went, I liked it. Then I went to see them open for Guns N' Roses 4 years ago. But I came at the end of their set because it was very hard to get to the show. And we arrived a little late, so I missed most of it. But very good band. Kind of a bit of a cult following in the U.S. Red Rider, similar situation, except Tom Cochrane had a great solo career from this. Lunatic Fringe was popular, somewhat, not very. Tom Cochrane did great with Life is a Highway, and that country band did a cover, so he did well. And next is on the list is Tom Cochrane's. So never saw him or Red Rider live. I would like to go. I do like this his songs, but the last time he came here, he opened up for John Mellencamp, and I like John Mellencamp, but I saw him twice, and I wasn't going to go just for the opening act. And not that I wouldn't have enjoyed a third time to hear John Mellencamp, but it was one of those days I just didn't feel like going. Kim Mitchell, just mentioned him. He was in Max Webster. I went over that. Number 16, Jeff Healey band, Angel Eyes was big. Can You See the Light? So it's funny. His 2 biggest songs are about having, somebody's eyes, a girl's eyes, and can you see the light? And he was a blind guitarist, great guitarist, sang well. He passed away. Joni Mitchell, classic legend, went to a U.S., made a great career for herself. Free Man in Paris that she did about David Geffen. I read that she once said when she played This Flight Tonight, which she wrote for herself, she wrote it, and Nazareth covered it. She says that when she did some live performances of it, she said, "Oh, this is a Nazareth song I'm going to do for you," which is a kind of funny thing because, of course, they made it huge, and she wrote it, but she didn't make it as huge. That song, at least. Steppenwolf. Well, we all know who they are. They're their classic with Born to Be Wild and Magic Carpet Ride. I was listening to something, I forget what it was, on TV, and they played an obscure Steppenwolf song. I was like curious, like I wondered how did he even know about this song? I never heard it, but I know his voice. So what's his name? Forget his name. So I said I knew right away it was Steppenwolf. John Kay, that's his name. They're still around, I think. Loverboy, number 13, saw them live like 3 times. Met Mike Reno. No, Mike Reno's a singer. I met the other guy. What's his name? The guitarist. Can't remember his name. They had some issues at the beginning of their career. They caught on. Had a good 10, 12 million sold and 15 million maybe copies in the US, so really big. Bare Naked Ladies, also a very good band. Famously, one of the singers left, and they're still around without him. And the guy that left, he had an issue where his girlfriend was doing coke, and he tried to say it was his cocaine because they were going to arrest her, and I don't know what happened. This is Eddie G's Music World. Trying to get to the end of this Canadian band list. The Band, number 11. I don't know. There was 1 or 2 guys from Canada, 1 or 2 guys not from Canada. So it's kind of a mix of different acts, but they were formed in Canada. So they're kind of Canadian. I don't know. It's one of those gray area things. Legendary used to be the backing band for Bob Dylan, and had all the weight and all that great stuff. Saga, saw them live about 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Had On the Loose. They're kind of like an artsy pop band. I like them. Gordon Lightfoot, number 9. Always liked him. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Yes, he's still alive. People think he's passed, but he hasn't, and he's close to 80. He says when he goes to the gym, he's always bombarded with autograph seekers. April Wine, number 8. Met them, most of them. Although the lead singer was, how could I forget? Miles Goodwin. When I met him, he gave me a look. I don't think he was too thrilled to see me. But the bass player brought me in to meet them after the concert. I've always loved this band. They should have been a lot bigger. They did have 2 hits. Number 7, Triumph. I got arrested in a subway in a metro station for selling their tickets. Me and this friend of mine, the friend convinced me to run when the cops said, stop selling, stop right there. I ran because my idiot friend ran, and I didn't get a record. We got off, they give us a ticket we're not supposed to scalp in the metro. Big deal. I never did see them live though. Bryan Adams. Do I have to talk about Bryan Adams? Everybody knows who he is. 5, BTO. You all know who they are. Randy Bachman, post, guess who formed this band with 1 or 2 of his brothers and a few other people. Jim Clench, who was in April Wine, was also in Beat Backwards and Overdrive. I'm trying to think who number 1 is. We'll get to it. Number 4, Neil Young. Yeah, it's another guy. Do I really have to discuss him? You all know who he is. Number 3, The Tragically Hip. I went to Kingston a year and a half ago, and they had a street called The Tragically Hip. And of course, Gord Downie passed away. The Guess Who, number 2. No shock that they would be this high on the list. Saw them live. There's a movement to get them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what? As good as they were, they only had 1 album or maybe 2 at the most that really made a massive impact, and everything subsequently not massively successful. It was a hodgepodge of band members quitting, rejoining, coming back and forth, reunions. It was like a very unstable lineup. But they did have that big album, the first one, so maybe that's enough. We'll see. Number 1, Rush. Wow. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to discuss Rush. Everybody knows who they are. So, Eddie G's Music World, I have to say this is the least feedback I had with my with people. There's nobody listening, but it's okay. Maybe one day you will. Eddie G's Music World, had some fun. It's January 12th. We'll talk again.